In broad daylight,
Pow, pow, pow.
Somebody's been hit inside.
the bullets
Pow, 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 pow.
were flying.
Reminds me of one of them big shootouts way back in Al Capone days.
At least 4 people shot at the corner of Park Heights and Shirley Avenue.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
I spoke with a man that was shot in the stomach. I just told him, to pray and God to be with him.
Witnesses say 2 others were shot in the arm. And this man shot in the foot.
That's real bad. And getting worse.
Arriving just after the ambulance left, he came to check on a loved one.
From what I hear, he only got shot in the leg, but the way this looked like a lot more.
Overwhelmed by the scene.
How are you feeling right now?
I gotta leave.
It happens so fast. It always happens so fast.
Police spent hours canvassing the area for bullets and shell casings. But for neighbors,
There's already been almost 300 people been killed in our city. So I just came and prayed for them.
they're left searching for hope.
I mean, if this wasn't going on, that's pretty neat looking. It's pretty, like he said.
It's like a winter wonderland. It's all I can imagine. There's got to be nothing but ice out here.
This has been going on since around 5:30 or so. It was just sort of a bubble in the road and then slowly got bigger. And then probably around 5:30, it just popped.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, she's scared. I mean, this is just unacceptable. Right. We know this is going on with pipes all over the city and everywhere else, but this should have been a main priority when this stuff is shooting at people's homes like this.
I just don't understand.
Just doing damage, and it's just very unsettling, very unsettling.
If I had a key, I'd go up there and turn the valve off.
It's down. There she goes.
I'm excited and thankful that they came. I know my neighbors said, "Woo, Paula!" We're glad.
Oh my God!
Praise the Lord.
A tearful embrace is what you'd expect to see outside a funeral. But this is different. Heightened emotions.
Obviously nervous. I mean, my son goes to school right here.
Schools on lockdown.
Like, it was like not too loud.
A day that was already difficult.
Everybody thinking it was fireworks, but no fireworks. Everybody started running.
Now, a double tragedy.
This world is getting crazy because we got a funeral right here, then plus somebody else got shot. That's crazy.
Carlos Medina heard the gunfire from his auto repair stall across the street.
I hear like 8 or 9 shots.
Cameras from his shop captured the chilling moments. The procession had just arrived when you see a group at the top of the screen begin to run. The entire crowd scatters in moments.
Immediately following the shooting, everyone at the funeral ran in all different directions, including any suspects that were among them.
One man was killed, another in critical condition.
3 people got shot in the graveyard at the gravesite at a burial.
The body, the guy is still right there.
Family covered in dirt.
The family, poor family right there, they're crying and see all these things happen again.
Unfathomable pain. Amplified.
This is 7th Street?
It appears 7.
7
Is Baltimore's lucky number.
That's good. 7 days.
I could definitely go 7 days without murder.
1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7.
7. She just turned 7 yesterday. She's now 7. Lucky number.
7 days. 0 murders.
That's real great.
7 days without nothing happening. I think it's a blessing from God.
7 days.
More than a number.
It's a good start. No one has been killed.
A sense of relief all over the city.
That's Hope Street. This Hope Street come across North Avenue.
Hopefully there won't be no more killings.
Hope.
They hope Baltimore has turned a corner.
Hope everybody turns their guns in.
And hope Baltimore's new trend will become the new norm.
Be more.
Charm City.
I hope it'll be a new beginning for everybody in Baltimore. I love Baltimore.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Strangers, hands gripped as hearts broke.
And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
These people died just doing their job. And life is precious, all life.
It was tragic. really, and we just wanted to pay our respects at 2:33 this week versus last week when it all happened.
And at exactly 2:33, just feet from the Capitol Gazette, those hands gripped tighter as silence overwhelmed.
God bless y'all. Thank you.
In the shadows of those 5 crosses, the tributes,
thank you for bringing me here,
messages, and memories live on.
When you were little, the one over there, Wendy Winters, she came and took a picture of all of us at our house on Southgate.
I was in the paper.
We want to bring the community together, and that's why we came, to bring counsel, to bring prayer, to bring healing.
I don't even know what word to use. Such an unbelievable crime to hit our community.
We hope that people won't forget this as time goes on, but will remember them and support the news family.
Strangers looking for a place of healing on broken ground.
Wendy interviewed my daughter several times.
Wendy Winters wrote about humanity.
I'm so sorry for you.
For all of us. Absolutely.
Even in death, her work is still being done.
In a split moment, your whole world can change.
It's just too much.
And as strangers come together, that human experience that these journalists so often wrote about unfolds where their stories ended. In Annapolis, Joy Lambert, Fox 45 News.
It's 12:30 a.m., December 31st, 22 degrees, and Amy Berbert leaves her house alone with a bag.
Man, it's real cold.
This trip, this performance, is the beginning of the end for Amy. The end of the road this early morning takes her to the end of North Avenue. She's taking a photo of an empty bar.
Like, I kind of want the whole building in it.
It's near where Keith Patterson was killed.
For me, the photos speak a lot louder than the words.
Let's get to the words first.
I can still kind of hear the phone call.
Shantae Gardner remembers them.
It feel like yesterday. You know what I mean? It feel like yesterday.
It's 80 degrees on an April night on Gwynn Oak Avenue.
Because you would never in a million years think that Mookie would be gone.
Maurice Bram's family remembers those words, even if his sister can't find them.
I can't even explain the pain. It's just like, it's hard.
Bram was homicide victim number 86, April 28th, 2016, 7:40 p.m. The minute is approaching.
I'm looking at it like this. That man and woman had a child, a mother, a father, a sister, a brother.
Amy is here to document it. Mookie's family is here to observe it. Most anniversaries are not like this.
I don't want to say that I'm the only person remembering these people, but I think in some cases I am.
Now, let's get to the photos. Those are what Amy knows speak louder.
It's January 1st to December 31st.
The work began for her January 1st.
And they barricaded the door and they set the house on fire.
It started as a school project, but has morphed into a performance art.
Like, I don't get to pick the locations either.
Every homicide scene.
I took this photo really early in the morning. That's probably not when the murder happened. That's just when the police found the person.
She snaps it a year later to the minute.
Just to think that like a year ago today, right here, like someone was dying.
Sabrina Kelly.
Kenneth Collins. Tyrese Watson.
Sierra Burley.
Marvin Saunders.
318 names.
Taji Anthony.
Marvin Anderson.
318 pictures. 318 captions.
Anthony Davidson.
Marvin Sanders.
Travis Lane.
The list goes on and on.
Her project, called Remembering the Stains on the Sidewalk, it honors them.
He laid down here, and that was his final steps.
4 months into the project, Amy met her first grieving mother, April 8th, 1:06 p.m.
The year to the date is today.
Homicide victim number 63, Jerry Cook, was 24. He had a son.
So I have had people ask what I'm doing, and then when I explain, they say, oh yeah, it happened right there.
Right there on Chelsea Terrace. His mom lives about 5 houses down.
Every day, it's like torment for a minute, and I have to really pray to get myself together.
Let's jump ahead 170 days, September 25th.
Someone was killed somewhere near here. We're just trying to figure out exactly where.
Amy is on Park Heights Avenue.
Yeah.
She's struggling to find the homicide scene.
Thank you for your help.
Police only released the block where victims are killed.
It took me a little while at first to realize that just because I see balloons and a teddy bear or candles or whatever, it might not be for that murder, because then you look down the block and there's 3 more sets of balloons.
Tonight, homicide victim number 230, Marlon Harris.
It was easy to think of them all as individuals when it was January. Like picture a person lying on the sidewalk over there, like bleeding to death.
Amy's collection is growing. So is she.
I started it for the victims, and I'm finishing it for the whole community.
She's here, and here, most of the time, it's only her.
For me, it's almost the performance of it is more important than the images.
Bennett Place, December 4th.
It's not so much about what the picture looks like, it's about being there.
Homicides 294, 295, and 296.
In the building behind you, like, there were 3 people found dead. For me to be able to come back and honor each individual person, to me, it's had a big impact.
As her project draws closer to an end,
okay.
She recalls details.
3 people shot inside of a bar, only one of them died.
The stories behind the photos.
And apparently they stomped him to death. It was a barber. He was shot in his barber shop. But before that, I don't think that there had been a murder in this neighborhood for like 10 years.
All of her photos wind up on social media, Instagram and Facebook. She intentionally leaves out people and identifiers in all of her photos. Her cover photo breaks that rule.
You see this big graffiti hashtag long live J-Rock.
September 5th, 2016.
J-Rock. And that was his nickname.
Homicide number 212, Jawan Pritchett. He was 25.
It really just made me wonder who wrote it. And like, I feel like that's kind of the epitome of this whole project, is like, maybe the media didn't remember it, maybe society in general doesn't care about these people, but someone did. Like, whoever spray painted that did. And now that person's gone out of that person's life.
As 2017 violence increased, Amy tried to press pause. The city went on, but someone, Amy, remembered.
I mean, the whole reason I started this project was because I felt like these people mattered, and no one else seemed to realize that.
So now we're back to where we started. New Year's Eve. She snaps her last photo. It's final.
It's not final though, because like, as much as they are individuals, this guy is one in like a sea of numbers. My project is done, but that doesn't really mean anything. Like, the homicides are still happening, the poverty is still a thing, like nothing changed.
Nothing, except for Amy. In Baltimore, Paul Gessler, Fox 45 News.
We are hands of time.
Accuracy here is usually measured to the exact second. But right now, they're in the process of changing time.
We are going into the future.
In this shop, that means moving ahead 1 hour.
Perfect.
They have more than 400 clocks, which means springing forward 400 times.
Advancing the hour hand is so much easier than going back 11 hours, okay.
Clock shop owner Bob Capone has been bouncing time on these clocks twice a year for 31 years.
This is a battery-operated clock, and if you can get around here...
While so many faces look on, he shares a secret about the hands.
You should always change it by turning the knob in the back as opposed to turning the hands themselves.
It's a tedious task.
So I'm going to go ahead and set the time.
The Eisenhower clock is even a bit of a celebrity, but not because of its name.
This clock was actually featured in House of Cards.
A man on a mission.
In order to correctly change the time on these big battery clocks,
to erase 1 hour.
Should never actually turn the minute hand to change the time. You should always take the back of the clock. In this case, this is very easy to do because the whole back comes off.
Every clock gets a bit of his time.
Since the Betty Boop.
While others chime in.
And I have to find the hook.
He's spending today on daylight savings in Savage Mill.
We love doing this. We love it.
Kathleen Cairns, Fox 45 News.
just was unheard of. Scandalous for the time.
They threw stones at her car.
They were also very vilified by many people.
The woman behind all of the scandal.
It was world news.
The American woman who supposedly stole him.
I don't think she ever had any idea it would end this way.
Somewhat tragic. At the end, she was alone.
How could someone from Baltimore take down the King of England?
There was a saying going around, watch out for those Baltimore girls. Still your king.
Very, very well-connected Baltimore family.
Since 1991, Zippy Larson's feet have followed some pretty famous footsteps.
This is the church where she was married the first time, an Episcopal church.
A tour guide, with her attention solely focused on the girl from 212 Biddle Street. The Baltimore girl who became the Duchess of Windsor.
This is where her girlfriends came for tea, to gossip, sip tea, talk about one another's clothes.
A fascinating life filled with jewels, glamour, and worldwide fame.
I would give my right arm to sit down and have tea with her.
A life so intriguing.
I'm going to bring it out for you. The woman behind the man on the throne, the uncrowned king.
That Philip Batty
This was made
turned his Biddle Street basement
to commemorate that he had passed away.
into a museum dedicated to the Duchess.
I mean, not everybody can marry a prince or a king.
A collection of authentic gloves
You can smell very faint hint of her perfume.
and replica jewels.
No one else had anything like it. They were big-time fashion icons.
But the intrigue surrounding the Duchess isn't just about an American living out a fairy tale. Designer gowns draped in jewels. Like any good story, this is about the journey, and it was one paved in scandal. Let's go back. Before Edward, there was Ernest and Earl.
Her first husband had been very abusive.
Even though taboo, Wallace divorced, until a charming half-British man swept her off her feet.
Her second husband, Ernest Simpson, went to England with her, and they met the Prince of Wales directly. And the three of them were friends. They were part of a group.
He used to stop by her flat where she lived with her husband, who had a job and had to get up in the morning, and he'd stay late and late and late.
Soon, Ernest was out and the king moved in.
He just became obsessed with her, felt he couldn't live without her. And when he was told, you must choose, it is impossible for us to accept the fact that there might be a queen with two living husbands. This is just outrageous. So you must choose the crown or her. And he chose her.
The world was shocked. You know, very typical for kings to have affairs. To abdicate the throne was unheard of.
They threw stones at her car. I remember reading she had to lie down on the floor, the back of the car, because the Brits felt she had stolen their king.
They both endured a very difficult life after the abdication. You know, they were pretty much exiled from England. They were not allowed to be part of the royal family per se.
The glittering prize of the throne slipped from Simpson's grasp. Simultaneously ostracized by society and hounded by the press. She had gone from a face in the crowd to Time magazine's Woman of the Year. Never given the title of Her Royal Highness.
He was still HRH, His Royal Highness. She was given the title of Her Grace, the Duchess of Windsor.
But to Americans, she became royalty, a commoner who climbed the ranks.
She changed the way the world operated in many ways. The King of England, the most powerful throne in the world, and he gives it up to marry the woman he loves.
Mark Letzer, president of the Maryland Historical Society, says decades later, the allure of Wallace Simpson not only lingers, but continues to fascinate. After all, one of the most requested objects in their collection once belonged to the Duchess.
We're very lucky to have a dress here in the collection that was made by Hubert de Givenchy in 1954.
Given to the Historical Society by the Duchess herself.
It's just very delicate. Thin little monkeys dancing around playing instruments. It's just all handmade.
Wallace didn't just become a celebrity, she became a historical figure. The girl from 212 Biddle changed the course of the British royal family.
It appears to be a path that Meghan Markle will not have difficulty. It's paved for her. Wide and beautiful and fresh scrubbed. For Wallace, it was rough.
From prep school at Oldfields to afternoon tea at the Belvedere Hotel, the society girl from Baltimore was raised with one purpose.
Wallace was brought up to intrigue men. That's how Southern women of the era.
All these years later, it's still what she does.
Midshipman First Class Hannah Downey.
It's one of those life-defining moments
Marine pilot.
that you know is special the second it happens.
Surface warfare. Navy pilot. Naval flight officer. Marine ground.
It's been a long journey for these midshipmen.
It's not the easiest road to choose the Naval Academy above like the regular college experience, but it's so worthwhile, and this is one of the great milestones where us seniors are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Josephine Rogers.
Name
Hayden Green.
after name.
Logan Smith.
Midshipman First Class Megan Vile from Severna Park waits for her life-changing moment.
Midshipman First Class Megan Vile.
A short walk that determines the rest of her life.
Surface warfare and a blue chip to USS Kearsarge.
Her first choice.
This is sort of the start of the rest of our lives. You know, I don't know how long I'm going to stay in the Navy, but for a lot of my classmates and maybe even myself, it'll be a lifelong career, and it starts here with this selection.
And like any life-changing day,
We did it,
a celebration. The following moments may not define their lives, but they're the moments that will be remembered. In Annapolis, Joy Lambert.
I got him eating the crayon!
Fox 45 News.
We've watched several rescues. I want to go ahead and show you right now. We've had several people who were rescued from this blue home, and take a look at just the strength of this water. You can see the cars slammed up against the fence here. Crashed, we're told. The water moved them from a nearby parking lot, and just look at the debris and the strength of this water. We're standing next to a gentleman who has his brother-in-law currently trapped inside that brick building right over there. He said he's with several people. They are unable to get out, stuck on the second and third floors. We've talked with the owner of this purple home to 4 businesses. She talked about how this happened just 2 years ago, and she is simply devastated that her business is again underwater. I want to go ahead and take you this way. We don't have much time. Police have told us that it's too dangerous for us to be in this section and that we have to leave, but I want to go ahead and show you down here. Earlier, this was absolutely flooded. You could not come down here. So as Vitas had mentioned, it does appear that the water is receding, but this rain is still coming down very heavily, still a very dangerous situation. Here's a look that we haven't had before. You can see a member of the Swiftwater Rescue here asking if anyone is inside this car. That is what they have been doing for the past couple of hours, checking these cars, making sure no one is inside. Earlier when we got here, you could see cars submerged in water. You could hear the horns honking, and that was the most chilling aspect, wondering if someone was in those cars or now. So right now that member of the Swiftwater Rescue Team is shouting, asking if anyone is inside the cars. This is a police officer here who's going to check it out right now for us. So stick with us. We're going to take a look at what happens, what unfolds here. As you can see, this is the Main Street area, and it is simply flooded. Very thick mud that they have to wade through. The officer right now has his flashlight out, checking in the car. He has just determined that there is no one inside that car, so that is very good news. Obviously, very dangerous conditions here in the downtown area. We've been talking with people who simply have said that they are just devastated that this is happening again. but we know that rescues are still happening. We don't have any word on any injuries. Rescues still happening, and people are asked to avoid this area. Jeff, back to you.
The line started forming before sunrise.
The last time they had it, the line was around the block 2 or 3 times.
Word of this day would not go unnoticed.
Oversight. I totally forgot about it. I ain't gonna lie, forgot about it.
Once day breaks,
in Baltimore City, you get a ticket before you even park.
the breaks come for city parkers.
It's kind of cold out here, so I'm kind of thinking, like, is it really worth it?
It's worth it to Paul Highfield.
I've been waiting for it. It's like lottery.
Like the lottery. He says he's saving $900 in late fees.
I didn't think Baltimore would do it. I read that, the last time we did it was 15 years ago.
10 years, actually.
I remember Woodstock, when people camped out 3 days in the rain for a show. I can't camp out 45 minutes for a break on my bill? Of course. It's a no-brainer.
Hey, Mom, look, I'm going live.
Ashley Richardson is going on 2 hours in line.
Been here since, give or take, 9:30.
Talking payment problems.
I'm paying $5 extra to put the money on my card.
The wait in line outweighs the wait in debt.
I really think they should have had more cashiers open, though.
The penalty is $16 a month. And so in the course of a year, that's $196. And over time, it can add up.
Yeah!
Finally, Ashley's time comes.
Gotta dance for you, baby.
She's saving $250.
We're grateful for this opportunity. I don't care who you are.
3 lines, and nearly 3 hours later,
I am debt-free!
Ashley's weight is lifted. In Baltimore.
I am debt-free, y'all.
Paul Gessler.
Debt-free, yeah!
Fox 45 News.
My kids' safety is my biggest concern.
We got 4947 and they got 4913.
You look angry.
Teresa Charney has no words for what she just witnessed. In a moment,
I don't know the word to say.
You'll know why. This all started in October, when Project Baltimore reported from Monocacy Road in Essex.
It's not safe, and it's not right.
These parents are upset because they used to have a bus to drive their kids, who are as young as 4, about 1 mile to Middleborough Elementary. But the county took their bus away, saying they lived less than 1 mile from the school, which is the cutoff. So Fox 45 walked the route and found it's a matter of feet. 5,497 feet. 217 feet. More than 1 mile.
We get up every day and we go to work, we pay our taxes, we do what we're supposed to do. I think the county should do what they're supposed to do.
After our story, county schools seemed to take this seriously. They came out and walked with parents to measure the distance. Our cameras were there as the wheel rolled.
Just waiting to see what the final outcome is going to be.
But from the start,
at the bottom is a dead end.
There was a lot of confusion.
We would have to have our children cross a main thoroughfare.
About where to turn.
Go up on the sidewalk.
Where to walk.
They're going to be walking on the sidewalk.
And even where to stop.
Now it's a different route, and now you don't pass my house at all.
While these parents and the school system argued over a few feet, this happened. A full-sized school bus pulled up. No one knew why.
I thought the bus was lost.
So we asked County Schools Director of Transportation, David McCree, about it.
Can you tell me why that bus was sent?
Just to take the staff back so that they could get back to their vehicles.
What did he just say?
Just to take the staff back so that they could get back to their vehicles.
You heard that right.
So there's a school bus to pick up staff, but there's not a school bus to pick up kids?
No.
Did that just happen?
So they have other duties to go to.
It's okay for my child to walk that far, but it's not okay for them. And you're grown adults.
You had a bus come pick you up?
No, we just told her to get into it. But we have no more comments, sir.
Who told you to get into the bus? Do you work for the school system, sir? So the school system sends a bus to pick you up, but they won't pick kids up?
Please step off the bus. We have no comment. Everything goes through Mr.
You want to shut the door, please?
And keep in mind, as these people are being driven 1 mile back to the school, Baltimore County Public Schools expects this 4-year-old to walk.
I'm not done. I'm a parent, and I'm going to do what I have to do to get what I need to get for my kid to be safe.